What's up, everybody? Man, we're gonna really get into some stuff here. We're gonna get into a pretty, it's gonna be a pretty non-wrestling, open talk about some things. So if you're ready for this, you know, I hope you're ready for this. You know, I don't know. May not be everybody's thing, but you know, you may find out that it is. That it is going to be your thing. I don't know. We'll find out in a few minutes here. What do you think? But there's a lot to get to as far as this goes. So I'm going to talk about why the elites are attempting to control us, potentially trying to break down our society and culture, and why that could be. And I mean all of our cultures. Could it be they know something that we don't? You know, I really think back to... at first, there's a little bit of me that thinks back to, you know, when we all first found out about certain things with greenhouse stuff and global warming things and, you know, whatever else. And, You knew the oil companies weren't going to let that happen, you know, somehow. So I wonder if it's all connected. It's kind of like going up against the cigarette companies. You go up against the cigarette companies and, man, look what they did to vaping. You can't vape really anymore. You can't have flavored vape. I mean, it's just nuts. So I have some words from Carl Sagan that I think are important, but also... You know, we got some interesting connections here with some of these things, like the World Economic Forum. We got this Schwab guy, Klaus Schwab. We got the Joe Biden stuff that's going on, which is like, can you imagine? Like, bro, just pretend for a second that it's one of Trump's kids that did this. Can you imagine if one of Trump's kids did this? It'd be all over the news. I mean, it's not even close to acknowledged whatsoever. So I find it fascinating. Why is that? I don't know. But we're going to talk about it. So, the other thing is that, and I will touch on wrestling if you want to as well during this video. And as far as wrestling goes, Raw ratings are up because 4th of July was last week. And the Raw ratings were down probably partially because of 4th of July with their 1.5 that Raw did last week. And so this week, Raw's up with a 1.7. So obviously you guys know what I felt about Raw last night. I thought it was garbage. I thought last night's Monday Night Raw was a piece of shit, you know? So, yeah, we'll get into Joe Biden, who's into all kinds of weird underage stuff, not talked about in the media, because they protect these people, like you said, Steven. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They're going to launch a campaign against them. So this will be a lot of fun, you know, to get into. You know, there's so many of these to talk about.
Shit bomb.
But first,
So Tim Pool was slandered today during the January 6th hearing. They
Really?
probably thought he wanted people to storm the Capitol when he was only reading a news story in one of his videos.
wow. So is Tim Pool going to sue them? Tim Pool was slandered today during the January 6th hearing. They probably thought he wanted people to storm the Capitol. Wow. So he's gonna sue somebody, right? Bro, if I was brought up in the January 6th hearing as being someone who supported anything, I would sue the fuck out of them. I would be ready. I would be ready with a giant hard-on to sue the fuck out of them. You know what I mean? God damn, I would sue them if I was him. Man, I would sue the hell out of those people. And if I couldn't sue them, I'd get them. And I don't know what that means or what or how, but I would figure out a way to do it. Mastodon says, Joe, WrestleMania 8, man, should make fucking charge you for questions on wrestling. Fuck you. Nah, Mastodon, WrestleMania 8, when the Warriors saved Hogan from the attack, Sid and Papa Shango, electric. Yeah, I loved it as a kid. I think some people didn't like that so much, but you know what I mean. Kitchen Time is obviously a troll or something. I don't know. If you love Trump, just say it. I don't love Trump. If you ever watch my videos, you would know what I feel about him. But no, it's not as much as loving Trump. See, like, you're obsessed with Trump because we're not even talking about Trump at all. We're literally talking about deep state shit here, and you bring up Trump. See, that's how you hate Trump. See, you're obsessed with Trump because you're one of those people that bring him up about anything. You're talking about something else, and someone you bring him up. I talked about how his kids, if it was his kids, it'd be all over the news. But it's Joe Biden's kids, so it's not all over the news. And then you're like, oh, you love Trump. Okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. I could literally hate Trump. The fact still remains, even if you hate Trump or love Trump, if Trump's kid was snorting coke, looking at pedo sex, and banging hookers, you know what I mean? It would be a whole different story. Yeah, I mean, aliens will play into this a little bit, J-Rod, potentially, in the fact that there could be reptilians in place already, or aliens in place in the government already. And I will explain my point, and I'm not even saying that they're nefarious ones, right? They may not necessarily be bad aliens, or we may think that they're bad, but they may be trying to do something the right way or something. We don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute, too. That's another thing to bring up. Gerald Armstrong, thank you for the $5, man. We've almost I'll pause it, actually. I've almost played them all, but there's a couple more to play still. And I will. Gerald Armstrong, thank you for the $5. I will get to that point as well about the aliens and potentially reptilians. Now, I think that's further out. I think that's full-on tinfoil hat and crazy, but it is something I will bring up and mention because it's somewhat possible, but highly doubt it. But it is something to consider, I suppose. Now, I don't take anything off the table, bro. We're floating on a gigantic round sphere in the middle of the universe. You know what I mean? Breathing air that comes, I mean, there's so many things you could say. We're flying, so I don't rule anything out. I talk about everything. But this is very interesting. And I'm going to play a lot of videos. I have a lot of videos to play here, guys. We're going to tie all this shit together. But let me just sort of theorize at the beginning. What if you were a world government? What if you were world leaders and you knew that the Earth was doomed unless we did something now, or we started to do something as soon as possible. And the only way to do it will probably be to sort of like trick people / force people into doing it through certain baby steps, right? Because you can't just say, oh, suddenly we're going to stop with all the coal and the oil, and suddenly we're going to stop with all the farming and the nitrogen and the gas and all the other things. And what if you found out that it was more of that than anything else? Would all the world leaders come out on TV and agree and then just be like, we have to stop all this stuff now. We've found out we only have 20 years to live, if we don't stop. I don't think they could do that because they would cause this panic. Instead, they would start to enable or begin certain, methods or execute plans. And that's what I almost wonder if that the World Economic Forum is part of that group, because that's where Klaus Schwab comes from. Klaus Schwab is not elected. He's in this company, the World Economic Forum, and so many of these other weird, CDC, World Economic Forum, you name it. All these little groups that are popping up, NATO, things like that. None of this stuff is stuff that we elect on and we run here, has anything to do with us. So it makes no sense. So there's a lot of problems here. And with that being said, is this the government's trying to start us? So right now the Dutch, the farmers, are insane. You guys have seen it maybe. If you wouldn't see it on the news really, but you'd see it all over Twitter. There's farmers and they're blocking the streets. There's thousands and thousands of trucks and farming equipment. It's unbelievable because they're telling the farmers that they can't, they have to cut 1/3 or something of all their animals and whatever else to cut down on the nitrogen and some of the other things. And it's just crazy that that's going on. And if you look at it, I mean, these people are protesting. You thought Canadians pushed back. The Dutch are going wild right now. The Dutch are going nuts right now. This shit's crazy. Farmers issuing a warning. This will happen more. This will happen more often. We will not give up. We will not give up. We call on all people to stand with us. I mean, they're going wild right now, everywhere throughout the world. So is this the deep state, the world leaders, the World Economic Forum, and all these crazy people? Is it that they know something about the earth that we don't know, or that they've finally decided to make a move on this situation? Basically saying that, listen, the people will never believe us, that we have to get rid of farmers and, that we're going to have to start doing all these crazy things. So we would prefer it if the mass amount of people are stupid. We want everybody to be woke on woke on woke. We want dumb people, dumb colleges, dumb students, dumb people, dumb leaders, puppet leaders, because we're going to need to control everybody. We're going to need to destroy a lot of the system in order to get people to comply with what we're about to do, because if we don't do it, global warming and the earth will never change, will never be the same, and we're all going to die if we don't figure something out. And so they're forcing our hand, because they knew they could not just come out and just say, oh, we're going to just, we're going to get rid of most of you farmers, and we're going to make everybody eat bugs, and we're going to make everybody eat weird little packets, and we're going to get rid of oil and gas. They knew they'd be up against the oil and gas companies. They'd be up against certain interest groups and energy companies. They'd be up against certain politicians. They'd be certainly up against the farmers, and they'd be up against the people of the world. And no one's going to believe this fully or get on board fully. So they need to put in place dumb puppet people like Justin Trudeau, who's just a cocksucker in Canada, or Joe Biden, who's a fucking imbecile whose son is on fucking crack and fucking plays with little kids and naked people online and does crack cocaine. And Joe Biden is a criminal himself, and they're all a bunch of criminals. And obviously we've seen how Australia complies. I don't know what's up with Australia. I think they somehow they've always had control of Australia, because Australia's always been a fucking penal colony anyway. So they've always had evil people in charge over there, and nothing different has changed. Now they've got Boris, whatever his face, over in the UK stepping down and getting out of there. So now who knows what... I think he wasn't playing ball, similar to Trump in some ways. And so he wasn't fully on board, I don't really ever believe. But now they're really going to be able to insert somebody who will be on board. And then you got the New Zealand prime minister person, like she's on board. They're all on board right there. And Klaus Schwab works with all these people that you see on your screen. So the World Economic Forum, something is weird is going on, man. And I've got a lot of videos to go over here. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm somebody who does believe that we can change the atmosphere, and that global warming is happening. Something is happening to the planet, and we do affect the planet, and something could be going on. But I don't think any of us know what's really happening. I think that, and now if it's not that, right? If it's not that, the elite and the Illuminati types way up above know what's going on with the planet, that something is wrong. And so they're trying to make steps immediately to fix things, or to start the reversal of things right now. And they're forcing it in a strange way that we've never thought about. It could be that, right? But it could be something else. It could be something actually just evil, right? It could be something actually just straight up evil, because that's not so evil. That's almost like they're trying to do the right thing, right? They think that no one will listen, so they just have to be a vigilante at this point and force it, right? Like that's somewhat honorable, although dishonest, right? But you can sort of see what they're doing if that's the case. If that's why all these puppets are in control, it's because they believe that we don't know what's good for us and the oil companies, and nobody's going to listen, so they've got to take over the world in order to get control of everything in order to put this stuff on the side. That could be what's going on. But what if it's not that? If it's not that, then what's the reason? What's the world domination, world control? What's going on? I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there. I have no concrete idea of what the hell is going on here. But something's up. And part of it seems to be the woke and the stupid, and we're all dumb, and, get us angry and fighting with each other over the dumbest shit you've ever seen. Like, it seems to obviously be a thing. And, there's a lot of things. I have video with, Tim Pool played a video. A lot of people told me about this video in New York. They're talking about bombs, or rather nuclear war warning videos in New York. Like, why is that happening? That's weird. We're talking about all the woke stuff. I've got good takes from Black Conservative Perspective. He's a good YouTuber. I've got good takes from Tim Pool. I've got good takes from the Rybum Report. He's a great guy too. There's lots of good takes on all of this, and I'm going to play videos, and we're going to sit here and we're going to watch them, and we're going to go over some of this stuff, because I find something is up, and I don't know what it is, but clearly something's going on, and I don't know what it is. I'll be honest about that. No idea what it is. Is it aliens? Is it evil? Is it good? Is it misguided good? Is it, you know what I mean? Or is there something worse? I know that Klaus Schwab, I butcher his name every time. Klaus Schwab, German guy. I mean, who knows? When I hear an old German guy talk about how he wants to control the world, sorry, I think about, Hitler, but that's just me.
Shit bum.
Who's worse? Mr. Eat Z Bugs Klaus Schwab or George Soros, the guy who wants to foment civil war?
Well, I think they're both Germans. And George Soros is a basically a Nazi. So George Soros is basically a Nazi, Gerald Armstrong, and he's doing all this bad stuff that we know about, right? We all know what he's doing. Now Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, what's up with this? Is anyone mildly interested in this? Does this all go back to Nazi Germany? Do you know what I mean? Does this all go back to Nazi Germany? And then the other day they turned the CERN collider on the other day again or whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm telling you, man. There's a lot of weird stuff happening. So you got Klaus Schwab, German. George Soros, German. Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum. No one appointed the guy. Why do they want to stop farmers from farming? Why do they want to burn all our food plants down? Go look up how many food plants have burned down now. Now it's not a coincidence anymore. Plus, why are they stopping farmers from farming? So this stuff starts adding up. Why is this woke stuff everywhere? Like, where they're making us stupid as hell. So I think they know something about global warming that we don't know. And I think they you can't go up against the oil companies. You can't go up against the people, the stupid people. We're all dumb, right? We'll all fight with each other till the end of time just to move the meter a little bit, right? So they figure, listen, there's no time for this. We have to take over the world and force people to stop putting nitrogen into the atmosphere and things like that. Could it be that? It could be that. So it could be they're trying to do something good, and it's scary because they're trying to do something good. Hunter Biden's doing crack, looking at child porn. No one cares. If Donald Trump's kids pissed in the street the wrong way, it'd be all over CNN, it'd be all over MSNBC, it'd be all over everything. What's out there about Hunter Biden right now? It's all everywhere here, but it's not on the news. And if you say certain things the wrong way, they delete all your stuff. What's going on? If you don't know about this stuff, you're fucking retarded, or you're not paying attention. This isn't crazy or some conspiracy. It's here. The Hunter Biden stuff was a conspiracy 7 months ago. Then they shut YouTubers down for talking about it. Now it's not because they know it's real and they can't do anything about it, but they don't talk about it. But the guy's a compromise to our country because the president is his dad. Anyway, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. What's up, Leah?
Do you have a second?
Why?
I want to ask you something.
I don't really. I'm doing a solo show right now.
Is it paused?
I'm live right now.
Oh.
Why?
I have a weird question, but I want to ask you in front of other people.
What is it?
Never mind.
No, well, hold on a minute. Let me mute the stream. The warm. I'm sure. Well, when you have a fever, you get hot. So when you get hot,
He's specifically saying it's when you have a fever.
now I'm unmuted. But it's if you get hot, it happens. Tell him to go fuck himself. Anyway, sorry. Leah had a question about male ball sacks, so that's interesting. You know what you should do is tell him we have no internet because Joe's dead. I don't know. I was trying to settle some argument or something that I don't know. Leah, JB, and someone else were having some kind of discussion about something. Anyway, then she didn't want it on the air, so I muted to talk about it. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So anyway, something's up, right? Like, let's be honest. Something's going on. I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna say what it is because I don't know what it is. But something is going on, bro. And I obviously that was no. Leah had a question about something. It was something silly, Something's up with all this. I'm gonna play some of the videos, because it's just too weird.
Duncachino?
Don't mind if I do.
What's my name?
Duncachino!
It's a whole new game.
Duncachino!
You want creamy goodness? I'm your friend. Say hello to my
The ghost
chocolate blend.
from the coast.
That whole alien stuff is all a distraction from Jeffrey Epstein client list. The government wants us under their control to worry about wokeness in USA instead of what's actually important.
That's a great point. That's another. That's a really good point. Actually, all of this could be horse shit, and it's really about that client list. That's true. I mean, dude, how does no one talk? How are we not? How is not all of us angry and talking about that? Dude, I wish I was. I want to become an evil villain. I wish I had the powers to just like snap my fingers and end everybody. I would just go to the doorstep of all these people and take care of it, because there's something wrong with everybody in this world. You think it's okay to beat and rape children? You think it's okay to traffic and rape children, little kids? That's what we think? What the fuck is going on? And people spend time like talking about, oh, how dare someone on the internet have an idea or a question, or like, oh, we gotta take out people's like over just fucking words. Like, meanwhile, it's okay to rape kids. Like, what is going on? Something really fucked up is going on, and I'm getting fucking sick of it, honestly. Ghost from the Coast, thank you, man. We've already been over this like 7 times. I go over like, a few more times. Let's watch a couple of videos on this stuff. So, I go to the global warming thing because I'm like, maybe there's a logical explanation. Maybe there's a logical explanation for why these weird elite people in the top want to control farmers. I don't know. I don't know. There's got to be a reason. Leah joined the show. We need your take. Leah's take would be, I don't know. I don't care. Oh, does Tucker Carlson talk about it? I didn't know that. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch any real news or any real news. I don't watch mainstream news. So I don't know. I know that sometimes Tucker Carlson's hilarious. I know that, but I don't like Fox either. I don't like anybody. So I don't watch them either. So I wouldn't know, really. Yeah, Ray J, that's weird, huh? It's a little bizarre. Let's talk about some of the crazy woke people at this point. Let's talk about like this lady. And I saw this on Black Conservative Perspective. He's always great. Got good videos. Let's watch this.
Get more attention, right? They can get their content out more. And in order to do that, white people must take a step back and let them lead the way, right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and play this TikTok.
If you're a white liberal leftist or consider yourself to be a white ally, I have a challenge for you. Don't create any more.
Well, at least at least if there's a conservative out there who's a white ally, whatever that means, at least that means, by the way, do you know what that really means? You know what white ally means? It just means being a good person. There's no fucking allies and stuff. They militarize, like this person is militarizing the idea of being a kind person or an accepting person of anybody. That's all it is. Being accepting of people is an ally or whatever. You're militarizing like general niceties.
Further ado, let's go ahead and play this TikTok.
If
Let's just have
you're a white liberal leftist or consider yourself to be a white ally, I have a challenge for you.
Ooh, I can't wait. I'm excited. I don't like to call myself an ally or, I don't typically like to say I'm an ally or whatever. I'm really just me, but I can't wait. I like challenges. Those are fun.
Don't create any more content on TikTok until September 22nd.
What?
And honestly, you deserve a break because every day is a white person day and y'all must be exhausted. So while you sit back.
Every day is a white person day? What the fuck are you talking about? Every day is a white person day? Does anybody know what that means? Every day is a white person day. Every day is a white person day. Every day is a white person day. It is? What exactly does that mean? Like, does that mean like tomorrow it's like George Washington Day, and the day after that it's like Bill Paxton Day, so that every day it's a white person day because every day we celebrate like a different white person, or do we celebrate? What are we talking about? What are you talking about? What about in China? Is every day a white person day in China? That's where the app TikTok comes from. What? Why is every day a white person day? Especially on TikTok. What?
Back, listen, learn, person day, and y'all must be exhausted. So while you
No. I mean, yeah, I'm exhausted from like working like fucking 3 jobs. I'm exhausted from that. My YouTube channel is on the slides a bit here. So I got to work 2 other jobs. So that's like 3 jobs. So yeah, I'm pretty exhausted from 3 jobs and 3 kids, and in fact, I barely even make TikTok videos. Ever. Almost ever. I never make them really.
you sit back, listen, learn, and truly decenter yourself.
Decenter yourself. What does that mean? Decenter yourself? To center yourself is to be like balanced, like and like to find like your chi and to, be very monkish, right? To find your zen, to find your happy place, your zen place. You're in a comfortable place. I'm centered. I've centered myself. You want to be centered. Do you mean center of attention? Is that what you're saying? Maybe that's what she's saying. I'm confused.
And truly decenter yourself.
Decenter yourself. Oh, maybe that is what, I don't know what that means.
Black, indigenous, and other people of color.
Black, indigenous, and other people of color. What, indigenous to Twitter? To Twitch? To TikTok? What? Wait a minute. TikTok is an app that's made in China, right? So there are black people from all over the world on TikTok. There are white people from all over the world on TikTok. So what is a black indigenous person on TikTok if it's a worldwide app? No one's indigenous to TikTok. And what about an African American black man? Is he indigenous to TikTok or to somebody in, say, United Kingdom? What is this just for the American white people? I'm very confused. Please help me.
We got it from here.
Now, does she wear giant glasses like that so her eyes look regular? Sorry.
Please, though, continue to like, comment, and share our content because y'all are always talking about how you want to support us and create.
Who's us? Who is us? Support us? Who are we talking about? What do you mean support us? Us women? What is a woman? I don't even know. Us, like, is she Asian? Us Asian people? I'm so confused. I'm confused. I'm just lost here. Who's us? Who's us? People who draw their eyebrows on? Is that us? People who shave and then draw their eyebrows on? People who look terrifying and I don't know. This reminds me of religious people.
Black, indigenous, and other people of color. We got it from here.
So if people are of color, they've got it from here. Like they can, you know what? If you're of color, you guys can handle TikTok. We don't need to be on, white people don't need to be on TikTok until September. They got it from here, really. It's not, we don't need to be there.
Please, though, continue to like.
But keep liking and promoting other people that aren't you, like, I guess. You're like, what, Asian? So like you're part of like the smartest people in the world. I don't know what, shouldn't a black person knock you out? Isn't that what's going on here? Like aren't you worried that a black guy might just knock you out in the streets? Like, shouldn't you be more worried about that than white people on TikTok? I don't get it.
Comment and share our content because y'all are always talking about how you want to support us and create equity.
Create equity. What does that even mean? What do you mean? What the hell does that mean? Equality? Create equality? The app is made by Asian people. What are we talking about?
Truth that so many of y'all are unwilling to accept.
Y'all? Are you appropriating fat southern racist people's languages?
Is that you do not want Black, indigenous, and other people of color to lead and pave the way because what would we do without your perspective?
Is that why we elected Obama as the leader of the free world? Is that why Obama got elected? 75% of the country was white or not black, but we voted in Obama to be our president for 8 years. Is that why we love Samuel L. Jackson so much? Or maybe we don't. Like, I'm confused about what these people are. These people are maniacs on, like, I don't know if she's on like drugs. She's been like raped by Santa Claus. I don't know what's going on with this person, but they're a lunatic.
Your voice, your commentary, your education.
I don't have a good education, I'll tell you that.
We would thrive.
Wow.
What? Asians have some of the best education in the world. You have some of the best education in the world if you're Asian. You know what? How'd she start this video? She had a challenge.
This TikTok.
If you're a white liberal leftist or consider yourself to be a white ally, I have a challenge for you.
I have a challenge for you. Don't get in a car accident. Sorry. But no, seriously, just like this. But this is the type of insanity that's going on right now.
Do a little basketball dance off the concrete. I mean, I'm just so sick of you little meth head devil worshippers. I'll be honest, I'd like to take a big bite out of your face.
Hello, Joe. Thank you for creating a new show. I will be happy to work with you. I request a measly $150 per episode. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to do business with you.
Well, thank you, Delirious. I don't not 100% know what that means, but hey, I don't know. I appreciate that. Awandi says every country should have their own people and their own citizens as a priority. I agree, because they should all be like, the big focus should be on your area, your people, your place. And then there can be a minor focus on the worldwide situation too. You can decide as a state, as a town, as a little area, as a country, as a whatever, how much help you are available to help people outside. But, you know, Jesus. I don't know, bro. That's weird. SNL said it's bleak for Asians. Yeah, I remember that, Kevin Nash. Do you guys remember that? SNL said it's bleak for Asians. This bitch must have drank the fucking Kool-Aid. I mean, but this is how delirious. They trick people into believing this stuff. They trick people into believing that you have to be like this, or that you're crazy, or whatever. You know? I mean, man, it is. Where's the SNL video? Let's watch the SNL video because it's so funny. It's ridiculous.
Been bleak for the past 2 weeks, and all the weeks before that since forever. But
things have been bleak for Asians like since forever, except they haven't, because like you're like the best. Like, I mean, like, what do you SAT scores?
It's really weird, man. I find that so funny. Like, they're like, so things have been bleak for Asians for like ever. It's like okay, bro. No, it hasn't. I still can't get over how weird that is. Here's another one. Here's another one. And let's keep in mind that I've always been a liberal too. Let's keep in mind that I've always been pretty much a liberal. Like, I've had enough of this shit though. I've had enough of this bullshit. This is just fucking, people are fucking make-believe land at this point. Here's another one from a Black Conservative Perspective.
Being here. Before, I want to visit with you, Ms. Metsky, but before I do, I just want to clear one thing up. Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
So he's confused because she said, well, she was saying, and people with the capacity for pregnancy. What the fuck are you saying? People with the capacity for pregnancy. So I'm like, what are you talking about? You mean like a mom, a woman? What are we talking about? People with the capacity of pregnancy. Now, I sort of understand now after the lady went on a tirade about it. Like, oh, so you mean like a man, a person who was a woman but is now a man but can give birth because they were a woman and could get... okay, that's what you mean? Okay, I get it. I think I get it. And so that makes sense. I understand that. So this guy has a question about it.
Women?
Many
people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity.
Yeah, take off your mask. I mean, it is July 2022, but yeah, I better have the mask on. Good little fucking sheep.
For pregnancy, many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable.
What's a cis woman? I don't even know what that is.
with pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the
Line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing.
This guy asking a question, like questioning things, opens up people to violence. Which, when you start talking like this is like when it sounds like we're in 1984 and the robots are taking over or something, and like the world is a dystopian crazy place, is what this sounds like.
Recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
Because of my line of questioning?
Because,
so we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you? Or are they
Absolutely.
also treated like this, where
No,
they're
they're
told
allowed
that
to
they're
question.
opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot
I
just in
know,
this exchange.
absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Ms. Matsky, let me ask you something.
Yeah, Mr. Holly.
So I get it. You know what I mean? Like, you're saying, like, you know, if somebody was a woman and becomes a man but still has the birthing parts of a woman, and they're now a man, they could give birth. So even though a trans man could give birth because they were a woman. So I understand that. I almost think that I'm even somewhere in the middle of those two. You know, I think she's ridiculous, and I think he is purposely, like, you know, like I'm going to make you sound insane because you are, kind of, you know, sort of thing, where I'd be like, all right, I just want to know, like, I recognize trans people and all their, you know, stuff and whatever else, but I mean, are we, you know, women give birth, right? I mean, so most people would say woman gives birth. But it's like, I can see that. But there's so much of that fighting, you know. It's like, what is going on in the world really, that's really going on right now, that we're all missing because we're sitting here dealing with this sort of thing. You know what I mean? Fighting with each other over, like, what fucking flag we're all wearing on our shirts or whatever. Very strange. Raw ratings went up, but probably not. Very strange. It's kind of funny. I think there's a lot of mental illness going on for sure everywhere right now. There's a lot of mental illness. You know what I mean? It's a lot of mental illness in the world. Let's see what you guys have to say.
Duncachino? Don't mind if I do.
Drew Bar.
What's my name? Duncachino.
It's a whole new game.
Duncachino. You want creamy goodness? I'm your friend. Say hello to my chocolate blend.
Why does Bill Gates and China own 462,000 acres of farmland?
Exactly. It all starting to add up, isn't it, guys? It's all starting to add up to me, man. Why does Bill Gates own almost 500,000 acres of farmland now? Bill Gates was into computers. Why does he own all the farmland? Why are all the facilities burning down? Why are the food shortages the way they are? Why are they telling the farmers they all need to stop farming? So if Bill Gates owns all the farmland, then nobody can farm. There's something going on that they know that we don't. And I don't know what it is, guys. Think about it. Something's going on. Could it have to do with global warming? Could it have to do with something about the planet potentially dying? Could it have to do with what Carl Sagan, Drew Bar, thank you, with what Carl Sagan warned us about back in 1985?
To share with us your particular view of how effect is, to try to say something about greenhouse effect on other planets, to again underscore that this is a real phenomenon, and then perhaps I can take the liberty to say a few remarks about what to do about it. The power of human beings to affect and control and change the environment is growing as our technology grows. And at present time, we clearly have reached the stage where we are capable, both intentionally and inadvertently, to make significant changes in the global climate and in the global ecosystem. We've probably been doing, on a smaller scale, things like that for a very long period of time. For example, slash and burn agriculture, which has been with us for tens of thousands of years probably, changes the climate to some extent by changing the albedo, the reflectivity of the Earth. That massive changes have occurred is clear from the historical record. For example, Egypt was once the breadbasket of the Roman Empire. It may be the same role as the American Midwest plays today. That is certainly no longer the case. It's not a greenhouse effect issue. It may be an overgrazing issue, but is an example of how humans are perfectly capable of making these unexpected and inadvertent changes. Because the effects occupy more than a human generation, there is a tendency to say that they are not our problem. Of course, then they are nobody's problem. Not on my tour of duty, not on my term of office. It's something for the next century. Let the next century worry about it. But the problem is that there are effects, and the greenhouse effect is one of them, which have long time constants. If you don't worry about it now, it's too late later on. And so in this...
So are we approaching the too late period? You know what I mean? Let's look at devil's advocate, maybe. Or let's look, I don't even know what I believe, but let's look at that idea. This was 1985. Carl Sagan makes a case here that by the year 2050, between the year 2050 and 2100 is where you will see these effects take place massively if we were to do nothing. Now, the look on Congress's face in this video is of shock. Many of the congressmen look like this. They look like this. They look like concerned, all the congressmen. Many of the people in the comments said, isn't it nice that a scientist can speak and Congress listens to them and there's no fighting and there's no all this arguing and things like that? I was like, well, yes, because Carl Sagan is a great man. But also, it's because, who cares? Because they didn't listen. Nobody listened. Nobody cared. Now, kind of, we do a little bit. So, are we at the point of no return? Is there something massive going on that we don't know about with the planet heating up and all kinds of things? And so, therefore, people like Klaus Schwab and George Soros and other people are causing chaos throughout the whole planet on purpose and inputting these evil idiot people in charge of everything so that they can control us, to force us to reduce carbon emissions and, you know, nitrogen in the atmosphere and farts and everything from the cows and whatever, and slow the agriculture because they're going to feed us bugs, feed us weird meals, change the way that all oil and fuel and things like that are working because they know something we don't, or because they believe it so badly that they know that they're going to have to force all of us to start doing this. And it's going to be hard because no one will ever just go with it. No one will ever just give up their freedom, give up their farms, give up the oil, give up the whatever. They're going to have to go up against other. So are they doing this because they feel that they are righteous and that they know something actually and that they're actually justified in doing this and this is the only way? If it's not that, what is it? The only connection I can find is global warming. That's the only connection I can find. The only other option is global dominance, right? Global control and dominance. For what purpose? Just to control the world? Why? To be all powerful? To be all controlling? You know, I mean, so you have all these options, right? You have all these options that they want to control us because they know they need to, because something is going to happen if they don't. So is it that? Is it that the global warming is going on and they've got to control us for that reason? Is it actual just evil? Or is it something like they're aliens from outer space and they're reptilians and they want to take the planet over somehow or integrate our species? I don't know. Is it that they're all child sex rapists and they need to distract us all and break our morals and spirits and get us fighting about all this goofy stuff so they can run our way to fuck our children? Is that what's going on? Occam's razor is usually the most basic answer, right? Is usually it. What's the reason to control us? Very strange. So I think of this 1985 hearing on climate change from 1985 from Carl Sagan, because what if it really, not only is it real, I know it's real, I know the planet's changing for some reason, but what if it's not only real, but it's worse than you realize? But because all the people in charge are fucking dimwits, we don't believe them. And something crazy is going on. Or are they just wrong? What if they're just wrong about it? But they think they're right, so they need to control everybody. So they could be wrong or right. Either way, they think they're doing it for the right reason, maybe. Or is it something more evil? These are just questions I'm throwing out there. Let's go back to Carl Sagan.
This issue as in...
By the way, who doesn't love listening to Carl Sagan? Because Agent Smith from the Matrix movies clearly copied his voice to do his voice as Agent Smith in the Matrix. And I always love listening to Carl Sagan because it reminds me of Agent Smith, Look outside, Morpheus. It's the smell. I'm saturated by it. Humans are like a virus. It sounds just like him. It's awesome.
So many other issues, we are passing on extremely grave problems for our children.
Neo.
When the time to solve the problems, if they can be solved at all, is now. If you ask what determines the Earth's climate, clearly the main thing that determines it is sunlight. Sunlight is what heats the Earth. Not all the light that arrives at the Earth from the sun goes to heating the Earth. Some of it is reflected back. It's just the part that is absorbed. And what happens is there's a certain rate at which sunlight is absorbed by the Earth's surface, and there's a certain rate at which the Earth's surface radiates to space. What comes from the sun is in the ordinary visible part of the spectrum that our eyes are sensitive to. What the Earth radiates into space is in the infrared part of the spectrum, longer waves than red, that our eyes are not sensitive to, but it's as legitimate, a form of light as the kind that we're used to. Now, if you calculate what the temperature of the Earth ought to be from how much sunlight is being absorbed,
oh my God, is that Al Gore? Is that Al Gore right there? No wonder Al Gore made the video on climate change and global warming. Look at Al Gore. He is like sold on this. He's like, oh my God, I gotta make a documentary. The water is gonna be in my living room in 2001, 2003. The oceans are gonna rise. Man, I really need to go back to banning rock music with my wife, that whore Tipper Gore. Hey, that rhymes. It's okay because if I lose to George Bush, in about 15 years from now, I'll just walk away. Who cares? That is so funny. There's Al Gore being brainwashed by Carl Sagan. Look at him right there. He's dead locked in. This is the point where Al Gore got brainwashed by Carl Sagan. But see, Carl Sagan is telling you, Carl Sagan is going to say that he doesn't, based on the information and the science and the numbers, that we won't start to see the severity of these effects, and they won't start to become irreversible seeming until the years 2050 and 2100. And he says we don't have enough data, though, to figure out how bad this could be or what it will really mean, but it doesn't seem good. And nothing will really get so severe until the year 2050. But for some reason, Al Gore took that and he went, well, I'm going to tell everyone that the water will be in our living rooms in 2003. Why did you say that, Al Gore? You literally, Al Gore, sat here and listened to Carl Sagan break down the numbers, and yet when you released your documentary about, the inconvenient truth, you explained how water was going to be in people's living rooms in the year 2003. What? When literally you're listening to Carl Sagan tell you the numbers and the science that, you won't start feeling the absolute irreversible effects, until 2050. But hey, I don't know, whatever. Maybe you got that part wrong. The arithmetic didn't work out. I don't know.
Cooling, how much infrared radiation would be radiated to space, you find that the Earth's temperature by this
maybe took a pee-pee at that point.
Simple calculation is too low. It's about 30 centigrade degrees too low. And why is it too low? It's too low because something was left out of the calculation. What was left out of the calculation? The greenhouse effect. The air between us.
They still leave that calculation out to this day when they talk about global warming. They always leave out the greenhouse calculation, exactly what Carl says here. No, I don't think the science really changed on it. It didn't, because here Carl Sagan explains 2050. But yeah, the science changed for Al Gore. Yeah, he probably had a more extreme redo of the science or something. I don't know. Science is like this. Science is like somebody shoots an arrow at you, right? Like you're standing up against a wall, and someone shoots an arrow at you from 100 yards away, and you're wearing sunglasses, and someone says, "Get ready for something," and you're wearing sunglasses, and you go, "Okay, get ready for something, okay," and you're looking around for what am I getting ready for, and then suddenly you see something in the distance, it's coming at you, and it's starting to come faster and faster. And you use sunglasses, and you have to, I'm gonna rip off the sunglasses and throw them. And you go, oh my God, something. And then you have to get out of the way in time, or the arrow will kill you. So it's like trying to make a decision in time, trying to figure out something in time, or over time coming to the resolution in science. Like at first you think, okay, what's gonna come and get me? Is it a car? Is it gonna rain? Is someone gonna fall on me? So you make all these educated guesses. Then you see something in the distance and you think, what is that? I can't figure it out. It's a projectile. It's coming faster. Oh my God, I got to get out of the way. And so you have all these changes, right, in what you thought the thing was originally that you were going to have to look out for. And then you realize it's an arrow. Or maybe you don't and you get killed by it, whatever. But it's just like you're always making changes on the fly in this case as far as global warming goes. I don't know. That's a terrible analogy. But you know what I mean? I'm like trying to come up with some idea of like the science is always changing. It's always moving, right? So it is always changing. But Al Gore was like, yo, it's going to be here in fucking 2003. Ah! By the way, fucking, how poor planning is that, Al Gore? You fucking idiot. Or whatever Al Gore said. I don't even remember now. Maybe I'm wrong. My numbers are wrong. All I know is Al Gore should have said, no, it's not going to happen until 2080. But I get it, because if you say 2080, then it doesn't affect anybody now, so nobody cares. You have to tell people it's happening next year. It's just like Planet X. Remember when Planet X was coming in 2003? Then it was coming in 2010. Then Planet X was going to come in 2012. Then Nibiru was going to come in 2015. Then 2016 and 17. And the Anunnaki were going to come riding Nibiru into the fucking doorstep of New York, and they're going to kill us all for our gold, or whatever the hell. Every 10 years, it's coming. Nibiru's coming. And it's not. But that's a different story, because I really do think that the scientists think that there's a gigantic fucking massive planet on the outside of our solar system in an elliptical orbit, where everything else is rotating like this in this big circle, but coming way out and then coming way back in and then going way out again is this gigantic planet that only comes around every 3,000 to 30,000 years, or whatever the stuff is. We've always talked about Planet X here. I'll get back into that at a later time, but you know what I'm saying. that could be affecting our planet. That could actually send the fucking planet into a magnetic pole tailspin every 30,000 years or 3,000 years or 10,000 years or something. And that could explain why our planet is so unique, that this massive planet on the outside is flipping our planet in this perfect way. But also destroying people at the same point. Like, it could destroy us all and then restart again, restart life again from planet Earth. Or it could explain why every all the ancient texts always talk about a giant flood and floods that happen. It's because we know that there's always a giant flood. Every 3,000 years is a giant flood, or every 30,000 years is a giant flood. I'd say more later than 3,000 years. But, it could explain why maybe humans have been on this planet a hell of a lot longer than we all realize, because this massive flood resets us every something so years, and we never remember our history and our past. Could be something that's going on. I don't know. But if this is the solar system here, or our, with all our planets, this is Earth, the Sun, and this is all our planets, and then there's this other planet that's going woo, and then coming way out of here, and then coming back in on an elliptical orbit and pulling us and fucking with us, and every time it comes back, the planets are in a different space, so you don't know how devastating or not that devastating it will be when the planet passes. And it will probably spend, 10 to 50 years going out of our area and unaffecting Earth's pull. But the scientists believe something is affecting the pull of all the planets in some way, and the only explanation is a gigantic, massive planet that's in an elliptical orbit. This is now what NASA does believe this now. You know what I mean? And this is stuff that, you're a conspiracy person. Oh, you're crazy. Planet X and Nibiru, you're nuts. Now, the Nibiru part is a little bit different. That's the whole Anunnaki and the aliens, and they ride the planet. Whatever. That could be true. But that could be fake or wrong or whatever. Fine. But there's no doubt about it that there's some kind of massive thing on the edge of our, solar system that's tugging at people, tugging at something, and the only thing that makes sense is a massive planet. Anyway, whatever. Back to Carl Sagan.
Is transparent, except in Los Angeles and places of that sort, in the ordinary visible part of the spectrum. We can see each other. But if our eyes were sensitive at, say, 15 microns in the infrared, we could not see each other. The air would be black between us, and that's because, in this case, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is very strongly absorbing at 15 microns and other wavelengths in the infrared. Likewise, there are parts of the infrared spectrum where water vapor absorbs, where we could not see each other if we were only as far apart as we are in this room. If you add these infrared absorbing gases to a planet, then what happens is the sunlight comes in as before, but when the surface tries to radiate to space in the infrared, it is blocked, it is impeded by the absorbing gases. And so the surface temperature has to rise so that there is an equilibrium between what comes in and what goes out. So this is the greenhouse effect. It is a misnomer for more reasons than one. It's a misnomer in particular because that's not how the florist greenhouse works, but that's a very minor point. There are other gases which absorb in the infrared, many of which have been mentioned already: nitrous oxide, methane, the halocarbons, and these are products partly of agriculture. It's fertilizers.
That's why the Dutch farmers are protesting right now. That's why Bill Gates is buying all the farmland. He just explained it right there. This gives credit to my conspiracy theory that the reason why we're seeing all of this around the world is because the elites are now convinced, not only convinced, but are certain that if we do not do something, the planet will perish or will die. The planet will be fine. The planet will go on and reset itself. We're all dead. And that's what makes me wonder if the elites know this now, or they all believe it. They've all gone to secret meetings. They've all met with the top scientists somewhere. They've all met with everybody. They've been shown dire proof that we're dead. That would be the only explanation for why you would want to tell farmers You must get rid of 1/3 of your farm animals and all your production. Why would Bill Gates buy all the farmland up? Why are we burning so many of these things? Why are we making it hard for farmers? Why are we shutting down most of the oil stuff and why is the government suddenly finally funding water cars, hydrogen cars, electric cars? Why? Because yes, you can have a big facility that's going to produce carbon and produce pollution while it makes, and going to need fuel and gas, right? It's going to need fuel and gas to run, and it's going to pump fuel and gas into the atmosphere. That's no doubt about it. But there's a difference between a big station pumping that and polluting slightly compared to the entire Earth covered in this sort of thing. Now, how are you going to get the Chinese on board, though? That's the question, because the Chinese and Russia, how are you going to get all those people on board for this sort of thing? Are places like the Dutch and other places, are they all just tests to see how bad the revolt will be, and that's why they're doing this? What is the reason for this? It's a great point, Greg. George Carlin said, the Earth isn't going anywhere. The Earth is just fine. The people are fucked. The Earth is going to shake us off like a bad case of the fleas. You guys, I fucking love George Carlin. The safety lecture continues. Continue to observe the no smoking sign well into the terminal. It's physically impossible to see the no smoking sign well inside the terminal. You can't even see the fucking plane from inside the terminal. Check. The next thing is full of things that piss me off. Check around your immediate seating area for personal belongings you might have brought on board. Let's start with immediate seating area. Seat! It's a goddamn seat! Check around your seat for any personal belongings. Well, what other belongings are there besides personal? Do these people honestly think I'm traveling with a fountain I stole from the park? You might have brought on board. Well, I might have brought my dildo collection, but I didn't, so I'm not going to look for it. Anyway, sorry. Got a little off guard here. We all love George Carlin. Now all we have is Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, and a few others. But we got George Carlin still in the brain.
Refrigeration, aerosol spray cans, and so on, all products of our technology. We don't generate much water into the atmosphere, but we certainly do generate a great deal of carbon dioxide through the burning of wood and fossil fuels, an apparently benign activity. Who could object to humans burning oil and coal, gas, and wood?
Oh my God, James Hill. Nuke the whales, save those snails. Remember that part?
I'd like to stress that the greenhouse effect makes life on Earth possible. If there were not a greenhouse effect, the temperature would, as I say, be 30 centigrade degrees or so colder, and that's well below the freezing point of water everywhere on the planet. The oceans would be solid after a while. A little greenhouse effect is a good thing. But there is a delicate balance of these invisible gases, and too much or too little greenhouse effect can mean too high or too low a temperature. And here we are pouring enormous quantities of CO2 and these other gases into the atmosphere every year with hardly any concern about its long-term and global consequences. Now, certainly not all aspects of how increased CO2 and other gases into the atmosphere affect the climate are known. There are still many uncertainties, although the overall picture is, I think, quite clear and quite widely understood and accepted. But there are questions about aerosols, about clouds. You heat up the Earth. How much increase or decrease in cloudiness is there? How does that change the albedo or reflectivity of the Earth? There's questions about the
I'm ready for a Carl Sagan movie starring Jeff Goldblum. That's pretty funny. That Independence Day recycling mindset, man. I love Carl Sagan. I know that some people here absolutely don't believe in global warming at all. I know some of you guys do. Even though I don't, I'm talking about the evil of all these people on your screen right now. Even though I'm talking about these evil people, including Klaus Schwab, I believe, unless we're misunderstood, and this guy, they 100% know they need to save us from ourselves. Unless that's going on, and I'm unaware of that. Hey, they seem evil to me right now, but I still understand that there's some kind of, we're affecting the planet somehow here. I do believe that.
and its response time to an increase in CO2. There are feedback effects, and therefore it is certainly worthwhile to spend some additional money on further research on the subject. Another point is that the significant temperature changes on the Earth between ice ages and out of ice ages, glacial and interglacial time periods, seems to be connected.
Interglacial? What the hell is this guy saying? Hey, maybe he should take the next couple of months off TikTok to make room for everybody else, all the indigenous people. Which I don't know who's indigenous on TikTok still. We don't know after watching that girl's weird woke rant earlier, but I don't know. Then again, this is 1985. Believe it or not, wow, this is only a year after I was born. And Carl Sagan was kind of nailing it here. But
Connected with quite small changes in the amount of sunlight that reaches the Earth due to changes in the Earth's orbital properties. And that is
the raw rating did go up this week, yes, 1.7.
Is a suggestion that the Earth's climate system may be very delicately dependent on the sorts of factors that we're talking about here, and that's why it makes sense to study past climatic change on the Earth.
This is a wonderful video, though. I would recommend you go watching it. I won't watch it anymore. I know it's kind of like, I love it. I could listen to it all night, but sitting here, of course, it is slightly a little bit boring. Carl Sagan, I'm saturated by it. Neo, the Matrix was made. I can't believe he just ripped off Carl Sagan's voice. But at the end here, he talks about how the Chinese, he's like, how are we going to get the Chinese to do any of this?
Time period we're talking about. So here is a temperature increase. One region of the planet might benefit while another region of the planet suffers. And there has to be a kind of trading off of benefits and suffering. And that requires a degree of international amity which certainly doesn't exist today.
And he does mention China earlier, before that part. But anyway, so there you get my point about this. So, with all these people being in charge of, stopping us from doing things that we all think it makes no sense. It makes no sense to stop this certain drilling or this certain, oil. It makes no sense to stop the farmers, for sure. That's the one thing we can all agree on that. Most of us can agree on that, right? Like many of you guys will fight about oil, right? About oil and versus electric cars and whatever. Fine, there's still a big disagreement on that. But there's one thing that most of us, I think 90% of us, maybe higher, would agree. Like, why would we give up the farming? That doesn't make sense. That's the part we can all agree with that. I think most of us agree with that. That none of us can. Why are they telling farmers, in the Dutch farmers, you need to cut half of what you're doing? Why is Bill Gates buying all the farmland up in our country? Why are our farmers being put through a harder time? Why is this going to happen in other places? What's going on? So that's the one thing that we can really kind of agree on. But, forget the electric cars. Forget some of you guys are in the electric cars, more on the left. Some right-wing people, too, are on the electric cars. But, one thing we can agree on is the farming stuff. Makes no sense to us, right? But if you're in the Green Party, maybe you agree with that, right? If you're in the very green party, and I mean even like you'd have to be in the extreme Green Party to want to shut farmers down from farming and let people eat bugs. Like what is it, 1% of the people who would agree with that, and maybe 5% would agree with some of the other things? So you know what I'm saying? Something is going on. James Hill, he based Ian Malcolm on Carl Sagan. Yeah, he might have. I don't know. I mean, Agent Smith is definitely based on Carl Sagan, his speaking cadence. No doubt about it. People are keying electric cars. That's so dumb. Why would they do that? I love electric cars. I like electric cars. I still like gas cars, but if we can move to, I think we need to move something better than electric. Like, believe it or not, I'm even crazier. You guys think those people are nuts. I think we need to move to cars that run off of fucking like whatever air. Like we don't want to do off air because then we won't be able to breathe there anymore. But you know what I mean, like some kind of weird like magnetism or fusion that we don't have to worry about stuff, or anti-gravity. Those are the things that I'm interested in. Not putting lithium-ion batteries into the ground and polluting the earth. So I'm even crazier.
Shit bum.
Isn't the term people of color the same as colored people? What's the difference?
I don't know anymore. Who knows with these people anymore? And by these people, I mean weird woke TikTokers. Who knows what they mean anymore? I think they're just out for clicks and dumb shit. A lot of them are just racist. Yeah, hydrogen. We are coming up with some hydrogen cars now. They took the patent on those a long time ago. Control the food, control the people, no doubt about it, Justin. But why do they want to control the people? Is it just your classic, like, they want to control people? But, yeah, it looks like hydrogen cars, because we've had hydrogen cars for about 100 years, but they've stole the patent on all those.
Shit bum!
What are your thoughts on Von Wagner in this lovely Come Tuesday?
What are your thoughts on Von Wagner? Random Gamer Schmo, thank you for the $5. I mean, any of those German scientists, you know what I mean? I'm not really into them. I don't know. I don't really watch Von Wagner. I haven't really watched. I don't watch NXT anymore. I really don't. I'd love to tell you something. I think he looks a little goofy. And I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care enough. He looks kind of like a Jake Roberts meets Big John Studd or somebody. But I don't know if he's really that big.
Shit bum!
But he's pretty big.
You know what's next, and it's already happening. Trans women saying that straight men are transphobic for rejecting their requests.
Right.
Because they believe they're actual women. It's mental illness.
I think mental illness is running wild all over the world right now, but especially in America. Gerald Armstrong, thank you for the donation, man. $5 shit bomb. And the thing is, like, I accept everybody. Like, I really do. Like, whatever you are, if you're not hurting other people, you can be who you are and what you want to be. I don't mind that. But the world doesn't have to acquiesce to your weird demands, of whatever you believe. You're not allowed to shape everybody else's perception of life based on your weird demands or your demands. The needs of the few do not outweigh the needs of the many. Leonard Nimoy and Spock said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So while the many can support you as best as they can, they certainly don't have to bend a knee and acquiesce to your demands of what you believe reality to be. If you talk to the toaster and demand that your family treats the toaster with respect, you are a psycho. Now, your family can choose to play along and say, okay, Dad, hi, toaster. There, that's better. Say hi to the toaster. You know, so there's an empathy there, that there's room for empathy for everybody about what they are and what they want to be. I have a lot of empathy for people about it. I sat next to a couple of different people over the years, trans people. I was in a class one time with a guy who was becoming a woman. I had all kinds of questions for the person, and I enjoyed them, and they enjoyed me, and I made jokes, and I made it clear that I thought, like, this is different. I don't know. But I never said, like, I never made fun of them. I made sure to let them know that, hey, man, if other people don't like you, fuck them, you know? But that person didn't demand that I do all this goofy shit for them, you know? And I said, well, I was like, do you want to be called, so you're like going to be a woman now, or people are going to call you, like, what, do people call you sir? Like, what do they call you? You know, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I'd like to be called, you know, Mrs. and things like that, and, you know, I think I'm changing my name, and my name's going to be, and I don't remember what the name was, but it was a female name. And I said, okay. Oh. And then they told me their name, you know, and I just called them that name. I didn't have a problem with that. Like, you really believe this, you really are in this. Yeah, maybe there's something mental going on, but we're all on a spectrum. All of us are. But that doesn't mean now that I'm going to say that women don't give birth. You're not going to yell at me and tell me that women don't give birth, that birthing people give birth. You can suck my dick. You know what I mean? Oh, you shouldn't say that women give birth. You should say that birthing people. No, fuck face. I'm not going to say birthing people. You know, it's because, like, dude, there are things that we all have done where someone misunderstood because usually the majority, or usually it's this way, and someone confused us. You know what I mean? And you have to set them right and go, oh, no, I actually don't because I do this. Oh, I thought because of your hat or because of the thing that you would do that. Oh, no. And that's all you got to do, bro. That's all you got to do. You know what I mean? Is just sort of relate to that, which is fine. That's got to be the funniest troll name I've ever seen. That is I got to give credit. That is one of the funniest troll names I've ever seen. Joe trying to bait Tex to call the show. You shouldn't say suck my dick. It's fag-phobic. What the fuck? I have friends and relatives that are gay. I love all people. I love you all. Whatever you are, I love you. We're all on the spectrum. And I will, you know, treat you kindly. And I will empathize with you. And hell, I'll fight for you. To be who you are. I will die for you to be who you are. But I will not go around playing Magic Land pretend. You know? We're not going to do that. I will never have him on my show again. So I'm not baiting anybody to call in. I'm not baiting him to call the show because I'll never have him on my show again. So that we don't need to bait anyone to be here. That guy is probably strunging up somebody right now. It's a woman's body. They should have the right to choose. Pretty much agree. But I know but I still don't feel right saying that 100%. But I pretty much have always agreed with that. But same time, it's a baby life, and you know the dad's involved too, and I feel like there should be some kind of meeting or say or whatever you want to say. But a lot of times guys are pretty good, right? Like, but not all the time. But you know, what do you do? What do you do if you get someone pregnant and you know you're like, oh my God, I'm a father. We created a life, and then the woman goes, I'm gonna abort it. You know, and the dad's like, oh, you know, that's rough too. You know, think about that. I'm not saying women have it really bad. Like they've always had it worse. Guys have always tried to control women, no doubt about it. Plus, they still do. You know what's funny in America is the very far left people. They're like, we love Muslims, we love the countries out there, and then a lot of those countries that they're so mad about, it's like most of those people, it's like, but they hate the far right people in this country that are like, oh, we're against abortion. But it's like over there, they'll kill you for all these things. Like, so it's like, it's just funny, man. This country is full of idiots, like real dumb people. You know, it's like Ukraine. Ukraine is an awful communist place. But we're like, oh my God, we love them now. You know, the left is like, we love them. Well, did you, like, they're they're worse than Republicans, but you hate Republicans, but you like Ukrainians? What the hell's going on? You know, so like this country is retarded. Like these people are dumb as fuck. When you see the people with the rainbow thing and then the Ukraine flag, and then they're like, fuck Trump. It's like, well, you're what? I don't get it. The people, our country is full. We're full of dumb. Like we're all dumb. I'm dumb. I don't want that shot at me. What are we still got? Did we play all the donos? I don't know. Let me check the donations again here. We've already done better tonight than the Raw review. See, nobody cares about wrestling.
Do a little basketball dance off the
Ryback. Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so sick of you little meth head devil worshippers. I'll be honest. I'd like to take a big bite out of your face.
Oh my God, Joe. Fuck you, man. I hate you so much. You are a bully. Stop making so many accounts in my streams. I am tired of clicking the block button. You ruin my life, you ginger bick. Why can't I have one normal day in my live stream? You always ruin it.
Why can't I have just one goddamn day? I was at work, Ryback. I wasn't in your stream, Ryback. I love you, though. Kisses. Ukrainians are hot and have super genetics, or superior genetics, says Rocky Salvador. That's normal to say. Man, I've had a fun time on this stream. We've really opened up Pandora's box here. 1 hour and 30 minutes into this thing. We've talked about a lot of crazy shit.
You raised a piece of shit.
No.
I never thought our president would be Lieutenant Frank Drebin from Police Squad.
Come on, man.
You raised a piece of shit.
Wings! Wings. That's almost as good as Brock's crack last night. Man, Brock Lesnar's crack was real weird. Tribal hog.
You raised a piece of shit.
No bomb tonight, but all love, Joe. Keep going, never give up like R-Truth's favorite wrestler.
The tribal hog.
Moss Blaze, thank you, sir. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Yeah, I had a rough week this week, man. I'm sorry to come on here and complain and not deliver fun for you guys, especially last night. But, yeah, I've had a rough week. I don't mind complaining when I have a bad week or a bad day or a bad lifetime or bad moments. Boy, was it bad. You know, I found out, you know what, I'll tell you real quick. You know, this is really hilarious. I mean, I always make mistakes, but this is a funny-ass mistake. The property tax went up around here, right? So the property tax went up, so you have to roll in an extra $800. But then on top of that, they switched insurance companies or whatever. Something my mortgage place switched insurance companies. And the funniest thing is they sent me a check months ago for about $1,500. And I said, wow, they sent me a check for $1,500. Weird. And the way it was written, I was like, oh, like the balance offset something. And I'm like, oh, look at that. We paid too much money for insurance for the past year or two. So they sent me a check back. So I deposited the check. I was like, cool. Well, what I found out was when they switched insurance companies, the old insurance company sent me the remainder of the money from the escrow, and I was actually supposed to keep that money because I needed it to pay the new one. Essentially, that's not really money I can have. It's got to go back into covering that. So I didn't realize that. So when I didn't pay them for that or put that in the back in the escrow the way I was supposed to, which I had no idea what, I don't know. I didn't fucking pay enough attention, or I didn't read it right, or so I'm an idiot. They rolled it into my mortgage. So I went to pay the mortgage the other day, and I couldn't pay it because it was so high, because it was all rolled into it. And they don't let you just. I called them like, can I just pay some of it now and some of it in 2 weeks? Like, why do I got to pay all of it? So it was just stressing me out. Like, it was driving me nuts. And then a bunch of other things were going on. I don't want to throw it all out there, but it was just been a bad couple of weeks, and I was really stressed out about it. And I could have taken some hours at work, and then I didn't do that because I was like the Raw review. And so then I watched 3 hours of Raw, came on here, started the show, realized like, oh man, I just spent 5 hours, for nothing. Like, this is really not good. So I was very stressed out yesterday. I'm sorry to do that. And that's why I don't think, I think I'm going to do the Raw reviews anymore. So I don't know yet. I still haven't made up my mind. But that's why I was so bizarre the other day. It was because I was like, oh, man. Like, that's all I was thinking about was how, like, oh, shit. Like, even today it's just been a mess. Anyway, whatever. Who cares? But when you got to deliver the fun, man. I need to deliver the good time, the fun, or the interesting videos. That's what I have to do. If you do that, if you build it, they will come. That's what happens. When you deliver, they will come. When you have nothing really to say about a Raw after watching a terrible Raw, no one wants to come. And I certainly didn't want to be here to talk about it because it was so terrible. But let's do a little bit of where's Klausy here? Just a little bit of Klaus. Here's Dave Rubin talking about Klaus.
Right does he have to be telling world leaders sharing misinformation? There's one button, you tap it, and you're good to go. It's that simple. So stop letting big tech and big government learn more. All right, so let's talk about some of the bad guys in the world right now. We often hear these phrases, the globalists, the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, and it's like they're these sort of amorphous things, and these government leaders get together in these very fancy places in the Alps and in the...
They get together and they meet about how the global warming is destroying the planet, and we're all dead unless we do something now, and then they start doing things. That's what it sounds like to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're wrong, but that's what they believe, and that seems to be what they're doing, to me.
Mountains and these remote areas, and they talk about all of us. And then we hear little trickles of it online, but it's like, what is all of this stuff? Well, Klaus Schwab, who comes off as a evil cartoon character, is the head of the World Economic Forum.
That's just because he speaks with a German accent, let's be honest. I mean, Hans Zimmer is a beautiful man, wonderful composer, and even he comes off like sounding like a cartoon criminal villain.
And he is the main driver of this new world order that these people want to put in. Now, I'm not being a conspiracy theorist when I say it. We are going to show you plenty of video of them talking about their new world order. And of course, they want to bring us a new world order because, the planet's going to explode because of climate change. And there's an awful lot of you people sharing misinformation.
To limit global warming, you are demanding to halt to coal, oil, and gas exploration. To the development.
Sounds just like Einstein, man. He actually sounds like Einstein.
And to the financing of this exploration. As well, you are asking firms to replace any corporate board directors who is unwilling to transition to cleaner energy sources. You are championing an open internet and a 2 trillion digital access plan to bring the world online and prevent internet shutdowns. And you are presenting new ways to minimize the spread of misinformation, and you want to combat dangerous extremist views in the internet.
I find it very scary that he wants to control misinformation or whatever they consider misinformation. There is a lot of misinformation, but don't you get concerned over what? Because if you let a Republican person control misinformation, then misinformation to them is anything inconvenient of their beliefs. And if you let a left-wing person control misinformation, then misinformation is anything that's in contrast to their beliefs. So it's more difficult to control misinformation than you think, especially when real information, thought, opinions, and questioning is called misinformation. Because yesterday's misinformation is today's facts a lot of times. just like conspiracies. So I'm a little concerned that, you're going to go to jail for misinformation, but then 5 years later, when it's proven true, you're still in jail. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of all the black and white men, especially black men, though, who are in jail right now for marijuana charges, while all of us out here can walk down the street and smoke a joint. Well, they're locked up for smoking a joint, but it was 10 years ago when you couldn't do it. Maybe you had a little too much pot in your pocket and you were smoking. Goodbye, 5 to 10 years. Lives ruined. Now it's okay. Sorry.
Okay, so Klaus Schwab right there is talking to world leaders and he's talking to corporate leaders about what they have to do related to climate change and misinformation. Now, you might say, but wait a minute.
He's begging them to put people in the corporate offices that will have climate change. So this goes out the window. I've been sitting here telling you guys, I think this is what this is all about. Fuck, now this is what it's all about.
And I elect leaders in my...
This is why Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland. So farmers won't buy the farmland and then let cows shit and fart on the farmland and burn.
Countries are supposed to be sovereign. What is it that this guy has over these people? Who is he? And what right does he have to be telling world leaders what they have to do related to climate change or misinformation or anything else? Of course, what's interesting there were two lines that really struck at me there. He says that they should replace corporate leaders. That was the phrase he used, replace corporate leaders who basically won't play along with their climate change agenda. Again, who is...
Wow, I haven't seen this video really yet. Oh my God! Like, it's literally, I thought I was so smart. Like, oh, this is what it's about. It's about the farmland. It's about the global warming. It's about all this stuff. I have a bombshell controversy in my head. Oh my God! No, it's right. It's just right here. Wow! I should have watched this video first.
What is the World Economic Forum? Why would it have the right to tell a company what policies that company should have? But they have their tentacles sort of in everything. Then he also talks about an open internet, and it's hilarious because he's talking about an open internet that'll avoid shutdowns and everything, but we also have to watch out for misinformation. So the very same people who would love to silence all of us are the ones that are always talking about an open internet because irony is truly dead. But this is a guy who has...
Open internet means controlled internet, by the way. Yes, certainly it means a little more open for everybody and more people will be able to access it. That's true. But really, an open internet means controlled internet. I mean, it's already fairly controlled, but it will be very controlled.
Extremely powerful friends in all parts of government all over the world. So this is going to shift us a little bit to what's going on in the Netherlands right now. Schwab is a big fan of Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. He says he's his favorite world leader, and there's a lot of weird stuff happening in the Netherlands right now. Take a look.
Where do you find still such a prime minister in the world? You find it in the Netherlands, and it's Mark Rutte. We should not underestimate the significant role the Netherlands is playing on the...
We will cut up the Jews and burn them. Then we will round up all the children, grandchildren of the Operation Paperclip, and we'll make the others eat bugs. And then we will gas them all. Sorry. I hear that in my head when he talks.
International scene. You are one of the big donors. You are at the forefront in terms of cyber security, of food security, water, gender, and so on. I was told...
I guess food security means stopping the farmers from producing the food. See, everything is the opposite. You ever notice that? Food security means that, oh, we're going to stop the farmers from producing food. Food security. Oh.
By an authoritative source. You are also probably the best looking prime minister in
This goes on and on. It's creepy as hell.
Is now becoming law in the Netherlands. So this brings us to what is happening right now. There is a factor in making the farmers' lives much more difficult, causing the prices of food to go up, et cetera, et cetera. This is very similar to what we had happen in Canada not too long ago. Here's some video about what's going on with the Dutch farmers.
Here's the Dutch farmers.
In the Netherlands, farmers are staging nationwide protests after government's decision to cut down on...
Wait a minute, is this guy a indigenous person? Or is he not because he's not on TikTok? I don't know.
Emissions of nitrogen oxide and ammonia by 2030. The decision has resulted to cause discomfort in the Netherlands' lucrative agriculture sector. The Dutch government decided to slash 50% of its nitrogen emissions by 2030 and has set aside an extra fund of $25.6 billion to make the necessary changes. But this decision has sparked a nationwide protest by the farmers. Agitated farmers believe the target is unfeasible and will only threaten their livelihood. Moreover, farmers across the country held mass demonstrations and blocked highways with their tractors, while few of them had a scuffle with police officials just outside the home of minister in charge of government's nitrogen policy.
By the way, this video does not do it justice. If you guys want to see what the Dutch are doing right now and what's going on over there in the Netherlands and the Dutch, you need to go on Twitter, #Dutch. Go on Twitter, use the #Dutch. You will find some crazy shit that you aren't seeing in this video or on the news.
Okay, so this is rather extraordinary stuff, and you can see what's going on here. Imagine telling a bunch of farmers you have to reduce your emissions by 50% by 2030 in 8 years. It is completely untenable. The farmers then, who are producing all of the food for the country, and if I'm not mistaken, the Netherlands is one of the biggest food exporters in the entire world, the farmers are saying, hey, we can't do it. And then they're doing what they have a right to do in a Western society, which is protest. Now, the question is, why is the Prime Minister Rutte of the Netherlands doing this? Is he doing this because he thinks this is the right thing for Netherlands to turn against the farmers and put these unattainable goals related to emissions out there? Or is it because he is a tool or a stooge of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum? So here is some video of the protest because the people are with the farmers. Surprise, surprise.
This is Troy, a village in the Dutch province of Gelderland in central Netherlands. Thousands of farmers...
You don't see this in America, by the way. They don't talk about this on the news here. Nobody knows about that this is going on, really. They're just finally starting to figure out this is happening. Because our country is like, well, we don't know what's going on. I don't know about that. You know? So it's crazy. Yes, I heard about the nuclear PSA that they're putting out. Yeah, Klaus might be Jewish. I don't know. I was just kidding around, obviously. Like, he might be. He actually, even though I made fun of him sounding evil, he sounds like Albert Einstein, too, kind of. Like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's a good thing. But, yeah, it goes on and whatever else. I mean, you guys can find all this stuff for yourself and look into lots of these things. But that's my point on that, and there's so many more. Now, is Klaus, again, are these people doing this from a good place of heart, that they realize that something is going on that's irreversible if we don't start now, and so that everyone's trying to make a move now as quickly as possible to take the farmland up, you know, to make these moves? I don't know. I don't know. And does it all go back to Carl Sagan warning us and all the scientists that warned us in the 80s of how this global warming in the planet would escalate? Or is it just being done for evil? These are the things that I'm interested in. Oh.
Motherfucker, here we go. Everyone knows I'm out the window. Yo, motherfucker, no romance, cause there ain't no jazz in my happy pants. Could you perchance come and take this dance and leave me here? I'm a bad motherfucker, ain't got no fear. What's the time, motherfucker? Time, motherfucker. You put it in a happy rhyme, motherfucker. It's clock. Bang, bang, tick tock. Fucking suck. Oil shock. 200 one consignment, 1 inch stock. What's the time, motherfucker? Set o'clock. I said clock.
Did you see the video of the toddler who was punching the cops? He's gonna go places.
I did, yeah. The little toddler was like, "You a bitch, cop." Yeah, I saw that. Gerald Armstrong, thank you for the $10. Yeah, it's sad to see that. You know, you don't know what the kids are raised around and what's going on, and you
raised a piece of shit.
Biden should go on Maury to prove he is great-grandpa of Island Boys.
Island Boys. Dark side of the... Oh. Damn. That's terrible. Thank you for that, Dono. I appreciate it. I think we're going to wrap it up in a minute. Yeah, New York has a weird bomb threat, bomb scare, nuclear, whatever, fallout video.
You raised a piece of shit.
They put out.
I identify as a wing.
I saw it today. Thank you, my uterus, my coat hanger. I saw it today on, believe it or not, I saw it on Timcast. It was on there. And coincidentally, our friend Dave Landau was on the show. Hey, Dave, what's up, bro? Dave Landau is a wonderful friend of mine and our show. So I saw the episode today with him on it, and I was like, oh, man. Not only is this funny, especially with, what's going on, watching this funny video of New York planning for like a nuclear attack or whatever. But our friend Dave Landau at Landau Dave on Twitter was on the show. I found I did find it to be hilarious. Nightbot should be fired. Discord. What up, Meow? Glock clock. Joe Seabrook, New Hampshire had a false alarm nuclear. Wow. Good thing it wasn't real. Jesus Christ, Seabrook. That'd be terrible. That shit would probably make its way all the way to me because it'd go up the Charles River. You know? But hey, man, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I had a great time. A lot of ideas out there. I think we'll come back to some of these at a later time, no doubt about it, of course. And I will catch you guys tomorrow for the AEW Dynamite review. Dynamite review tomorrow night. I'll be here. I hope you are too. Certainly could cover a lot more on all of this. You're in Waltham? What's up, Greg? I used to work in Newton. It's not that far. Good show. Thank you guys for being here. I had a fun time. Appreciate it. I hope you guys can click the like button, stick the thumb way up the ass. Feel free to leave a super thanks if you're watching this on the replay if you want to drop a couple bucks. Or hit me up on paypal.me/Joe Cronin Show if you want to fund me immediately. Or become a patron on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Looks like me, Leah, and Jesse will be doing a podcast. That's right, me, my wife, and Jesse doing a podcast sometime soon going up on Patreon. You guys voted that you wanted to hear me and Leah. So I thought we'd throw Jesse in the mix for a little fun. And that could be good. And is there a donation? Let me just see if there are other donos because I did not hit the unpause donation button. So let me just double check, make sure we got everything. There's a brand new Diablo season coming out. They announced it. I'm excited about that. And on top of that, there's a new... I'm sorry. Tony Leroy dropped a 420 donation that I don't know why it skipped it for some reason. What the hell's wrong with this thing? My bad. Tony Leroy dropped a dono. Let's give him a donation effect. Newton can F itself, says Kenegon. It's pretty funny.
Come on out, you rapist!
Tony says, hey, Joe, just wanted to let you know that you should look into the documentaries Level and The Next Level by Hibbler. It shows what the real conspiracy of the flat earth is, and it's not what you think. Remember, all NASA images are CGI, zero photographs. Yes, that always drives me nuts. I'm always like, wow, look at that photo. And then it's CGI, and it's like, this isn't real. That annoys the hell out of me. No doubt about it. China, Google, China, Google, China. Please give us the algorithm love. Thank you guys for being here. I had a lot of fun, man. I really went off. I really put the tinfoil hat on for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for supporting the show on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. And to donating tonight, thank you to the Ghost from the Coast, who was the top donation at $19. Thank you, Ghost from the Coast. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you.
Wings!
See you tomorrow for AEW.
There's 9,000 people who are going to stand up and say, fuck Ric Flair.
I also want to throw out a shout out for the new patrons really quickly as well. I almost forgot this. Big shout out to JT, who became a $5 patron. Joey Brash, who's back in the $5 spot. Thank you.